All right, today I want to show you how to drill a hole. That sounds really stupid and simple, doesn't it? And you know, when I was younger, I probably would have thought the same thing, but over the years, I've learned how much I don't know about the simple act of drilling a hole. From using lubrication on the drill bit to checking the drill bit itself, you know, what kind of pressure and how fast and whatnot. There's a lot more to drilling a hole than just grabbing a drill and going at it. So when I drill a hole, I've got, this is a, probably should have done that first. This is my engine run stand that I built, and this is the little mount for holding it on the arm here. What I've discovered is this is not secure enough of a mount. It's not wide enough. There's a bigger plate in the back, but honestly, when I do stuff with the engine, this tries to flip over. I haven't actually fired this engine up yet, and I'm kind of scared to because of this, and so I wanted to make a wider foot for this. So I've welded up this, which is significantly larger, and it's going to fit on there fine. I've mocked everything up. It looks like it's going to work. I just have to drill the holes for the bolt. That gets me to where I am now, which is trying to show you how to drill a hole. So first off, if I'm drilling a 1/2-inch hole, which is what those are, I don't start off with a 1/2-inch drill bit. If you get a 1/2-inch drill bit on here, it's going to wander all around. Your drill's going to be way off center by the time you actually get it drilling through. Always drill a pilot hole to start. And I've seen some guys will start off with an 1/8 inch and go up to 1/4 inch and go up to 7/16 or whatever, and work their way up to 1/2 inch. You don't need to do that. You're going to wear out a lot of drill bits doing that. Start with an 1/8 inch, make your pilot hole, then go right to your 1/2 inch. If you're going to be drilling something like a 2-inch hole or something like that, and you're using a 2-inch drill bit, not a hole saw, then maybe you want to work your way up a little more. But so yeah, one hole. Another thing to consider is drill bits are a wear item. I've got a couple drill kits. When I buy replacement bits, I don't buy another drill kit. I buy a 10 pack of. I always start my pilot hole with 1/8 inch, so I have a 10 pack of 1/8 inch drill bits in the bottom of my toolbox. I like to check my drill bits just to see, can I feel them grabbing a little bit? If so, I know they're gonna grab the steel and cut. If you spin the drill bit on your hand and you don't feel a grab, if it feels smooth, your drill bit's wore out. You're not going to make it anywhere, more than likely. So chuck it up in the drill. I was pulling out just a little bit. I don't have them chucked all the way deep. Maybe that's something I'm doing wrong, but that's just how I am. I also don't have, you have to pay attention to your drills. This has a 3/8 chuck in it. My other drill that had a 1/2 inch chuck died, and so I'm having to do this with a 3/8 chuck. I hadn't got a new drill yet, and I don't have I have a 1/2 inch drill bit, and I can't chuck it up here. So I've got a step bit I'm going to try using for this today. We'll see how that works. So anyways, now whenever you drill holes, you need lubricant. If you're drilling wood, yeah, you don't need lubricant. If you're drilling plastic, you don't need lubricant. If you're drilling any kind of metal, you want to lube the hole you're drilling. Otherwise, you'll heat the tip of the drill bit up, and that's how you burn up drill bits. So there's drill oil out there. I recommend it. I use PB Blaster. I've got it around the shop for everything. I use this for if I got a stuck bolt. I use it to clean sometimes. You spray stuff down with PB Blaster, you'd amaze how clean it comes. And I use it for drilling holes. That's probably half what I use it for, is drilling holes. It's not intended for that, but I haven't had any problem with it, and that's what I use. So put on your eye protection, because you are going to be spinning something. Oh, let me get a different pair of these. Trash. Don't be afraid to throw away safety goggles when they get bad. I'll grab my full-on goggles here. All right. Always wear eye protection when you're dealing with spinny bits. And when you drill, pay attention to your drill angle. You don't want to be getting off sideways, because you can actually, even though I've center punched this, I should have shown that. Got a little automatic center punch here. I measured where I want the hole. Gave it 3 quick clicks, and now it's ready for to be drilled. But yeah, you want to hold this nice and straight, and when you're drilling, you want to put downward pressure. And with steel, you don't want a whole lot of speed. So I'm not going to max out the drill speed. I'm going to be using a slower speed to drill this. You see how fast that went? That's how, this is 1/8 inch, maybe 3/16 inch. It's not incredibly thick, but it is thick enough. And I didn't spend a whole lot of time drilling it. It went right through. That's how your drilling should go. If you're not going through that quickly, if you're sitting there for 5 minutes trying to drill through it, you're not using enough pressure and you may be going too fast on the drill speed. Nice, easy, firm pressure. I'm not trying to kill it. I'm not trying to snap off this bit. And that's another thing. If you keep it straight up and down, you're less likely to snap that bit. But drilling like that made it quick and easy. And it cut. It's something I hadn't thought about in the past, but I've had to teach people recently how to drill holes. And they're sitting there drilling away, drilling away. It's not cutting, Sergeant Strawn. It's not cutting. What's going on? You need to use more force. You got to put some lube on there and put some more downward pressure. Slow down your drill speed. You're burning up the bits. And, it amazes me how many people, I talk to middle-aged technicians in their 30s, 40s, and they don't know this. They've always just grabbed a drill and drilled, and they always hated drilling stuff because it never went well. Well, there's a reason. So, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and mark this. I didn't mark this ahead of time for this one. So, and we'll do this again. So I did not mention earlier about punch through. I was drilling this hole and it got to the end and it stopped progressing. A lot of times that's what happens. Whenever you get down to the end, the metal underneath flexes downward. You have a little ridge there on the outside of your drill bit that keeps it from wanting to punch through, but you're not digging in the middle anymore because the metal underneath is deformed. You just got to put a little more downward force, pick up the speed just a little bit, and usually it'll punch right through. And that's always where you snap your drill bit, just so you know. So be ready for it to punch through and be ready to let up on the pressure and the speed and pull that drill bit back out. If your drill bit hangs up, you just got to, sometimes I'll be drilling and it'll hang up on that bottom bit and I can't get the drill going again. It's sitting there doing that. You just got to pull the drill bit up a little bit, give it a little speed, and then go back down into it. And a lot of times you'll knock off that burr that's hanging you up and get you through. So, a couple more tips there. So let's move on to the step drill now. And step drill bits are nice. They're really nice, but they're a little more tedious sometimes. They dull real fast, real easily. You got to be a little careful with them. And I'm not sure if this is going to work. If I'm going to hit this, it doesn't look like I'm going to. It looks like it's going to go just right. So I'll get a little more. I'm going to brush this off. Get all the chips off there. Put a little more lube on it. And let's try this again. Now, if you notice, the pile of chips keeps growing outward as I'm going. If you don't see chips flying, if you don't see chips coming off what you're doing, you're not drilling. Chips are your indication that you're making progress. So you want to see chips. And you can never have enough lube. I think this next step I'll stop and see where I'm at. The other thing about a step drill is you can only go so deep through the metal before you go up to the next size. And I'm not all the way through on the bottom, and I'm already starting to cut another size on the top. So not as effective as I'd like to be for this. Now, quick question, what would you do if you drilled that wrong? If your hole was offset to one side too far, or if you drilled it too big, what would you do? Well, for me, since I have a welder, I'd grab a hardened washer and weld it to the outside. My piece is going to go in the middle here, so I can go bigger on the outside. I'll just need a longer bolt. But that's how I would fix that if I went too big or screwed up the hole or whatever. I'd put a hardened washer. So, the other thing is, if I got too close to the top here, that's not as much of an issue on this because the weight is going to be resting that direction. So keep those kinds of things in mind when you're building something like this from scratch. Okay, you notice I'm not getting a whole lot of chips all of a sudden. My drill's starting to get warm, and the drill bit is scorching hot, so is that. I probably need to let this cool down for a minute. Keep heat in mind when you're drilling. Heat is what kills your drill bits. If your drill bit starts slowing down, not chipping, take a break, let it cool down a little bit, put some more lube on it, clean up your area, whatever you need to do, and then come back to it. I would like to come up from the other side and drill this, but I can't because the other piece is in the way, the other end of this. So I basically just got to keep drilling downward from here, but I've got to let it cool for a minute. So, all right, while I'm waiting for the drill bit to cool down, I can show you this real quick. This is my regular drill bit set. I've also got an old snap-on kit that was way too expensive for what it is. This is Harbor Freight's cheapest. It's a Warrior drill bit set. I use this for most everything when I'm drilling. It works, period. They're not bad drill bits. They're not the best, but they're good. But if I have to drill on hardened steel, I bought a high dollar. This is about a $60 set of drill bits. And if you notice, I haven't marked hardened steel only. I do not use these on anything except hardened steel because they're expensive. I don't buy replacements for this in bulk. Although, if I need to, I'll buy a couple replacement bits. But I've heard about a couple different drill bits that are good for hardened steel. The Bosch kit is one of the better ones. I had something hardened to drill out, and I didn't want to buy. This is one of the things where you buy once, cry once kind of thing. You may have to replace drill bits from time to time, but you buy the set, and you've got pretty much what you need to deal with hardened steel bolts or whatever if you have to drill something out. And that's what I'm doing. I have a hardened bolt I got to drill out. I drilled through it with this kit, and it the bit I used went right through it. It went through about as fast as using these drill bits on mild steel. So your drill bits do matter. If you get a set of hard bits for drilling hardened steel, only use them on hardened steel. That way you're not replacing them all the time at $5 a bit. I can spend $5 and get 10 bits for this kit. So I want to say about a third of the bits in this kit aren't the original bits that came with this kit. I replace them. I don't have any problem replacing them because they're cheap. So that's that. I did go and get another one of these so I can change this out real quick and get back to it. My drill's getting warm, but it's not hot. If your drill's too hot to hold in your hand, stop drilling, let it cool down. You will do damage, permanent damage to your drill if you let it get too hot. If your drill bit is slipping in here, some drill bits have a surface that's got flat spots to grip, triangular surface. Those are a little easier to tighten and they don't slip as much. A regular round drill bit, that doesn't have the flat spots on it, you really have to work to get it tight in the chuck. And I hurt my finger the other day, so tightening this is it's not a fun experience. But anyways, make sure you get your chuck good and tight. If your drill bit's, keep an eye on your drill bit. If it's not throwing chips, if your drill bit's sitting still, you're tearing up your drill bit. So let's get some more lube on here. Let's see if we can get a little further. Oh. Yeah, I'd say this one's a little dull. That blasted through that in a hurry. I think I gotta go one more size up. Let me grab my bolt. Okay, so it's almost big enough for my bolt to go through. One more blast with this. Look at that. That's a tight fit. That's very nice. Now I just got to flip it back over and do this other side. Now if you noticed, I started with this hole centered, and sure enough, it went off to one side. How do you prevent that? Use a drill press if you can. I tried putting this in my drill press, and it's a little too big. But again, this is not, and this is just on my engine run stand. It's not, perfectly square or whatnot. It doesn't need to be. But that's what machinists do. They use a drill press. Drill press works if you can get your work in there. A drill press drills straight up and down. There's no getting off to an angle with your hand drill. So keep that in mind if you have a drill press handy. A little bit of lube. I mean, that looks pretty well lubed, but let's go with some more. Now sometimes if it hangs up and it's not really chipping, I'll wiggle this back and forth. I'll wiggle it around a little bit, and a lot of times it'll help the tip of the drill bit dig into someplace if there's something underneath it that's keeping it from digging. Let some lubrication there. I'm using a little bit too much downward pressure, I think, and I was keeping the drill bit from spinning good enough. A little speed did help that time. Speed's not bad, you just have to use the appropriate amount. That's pretty close to going through. All right, I think that's got it. And that hole stayed fairly square, so it's going to be interesting to see if the piece wants to go in where it's supposed to go. I may end up having to drill this other hole out bigger and weld a washer to it. I should have paid more attention when I was drilling that hole to make sure it wouldn't wander off the side. And I could have prevented it if I'd seen that it was wandering. But for what I'm doing, I think that'll work. And there we are. The piece is installed. Fits nice. I think that'll work great for holding the engine in place better.